Hey guys, how you doing? This is Rob. There's just a couple things I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I really want to get this issue of organized gang stalking um, out of the way. I think it's going to be something that's going to be beneficial. Um, something that'll be uh, something that'll be really helpful for people who maybe in the future come across this. Essentially, what gang stalking is that you have an organization, a group of people who come together for a common goal to either threaten, harass, intimidate, somebody. Now, it doesn't have to be just one person. It can be two people. It can be a family. But a lot of times, I think we all remember that word click in high school. But this is like a click on super duper steroids because their involvement has to do with the fact that it's not only directed at you as the person, but it's directed toward your environment, the ones around you, the ones you love, your job. If you go to a supermarket, these what they do is that they put case files together about you in order to enlist people's cooperation, make it look official with photos of you, perhaps outside or somewhere else. And what they'll do is that they'll actually infiltrate your family. And what they mean by that is intimate, um, pardon me, ruined relationships, where they attempt to um, create these falsehoods in order to push their cause, which at that point is just is to destroy you. And a lot of times, people say, "Oh, well, what's the harm in that?" What's the harm in that? The harm is that it takes pieces of you. It takes, it's mentally taxing, physically taxing, emotionally taxing, socially taxing, because a lot of times these people, it's because it's a constant 24/7 barrage, and there's always somebody there to do this, and there's always somebody there, and they won't tell you because they don't want to fix anything that you have to offer. What they want to do is they want to affect the environment. They can speak to everybody but you. So that's highly indicative of gang stalking. Now, I was watching these videos on organized gang stalking, and a lot of times what's done is called telephone redirects. Telephone redirects is something that's sort of like having a tap on your line. However, when you dial a phone number, when you actually punch in the numbers, you'll actually reach somebody else who's pretending to be the company in which you're calling. And a lot of times, these businesses like cable companies, phone companies, gas companies, power companies, they will infiltrate these organizations in order to get profile or information about you. So they always suggest to get the name and ID of the person to verify that who you're talking to. Um, Another thing is called isolation, where they attempt to isolate you from your friends and your family, and keep you separated. And a lot of times it's basically to silence you. Perhaps you know too much. Perhaps it's something that you know perhaps your intentions were good all along, and it just took one thing, but because it's a perceived threat versus the actual threat, which are their actions, perceived, it can be highly subjective. So you never know. The other thing that they use is sabotage, and what they do is that they sabotage you in order to push their gain. Um, a lot of times too, they have random encounters where you see random people who all of a sudden start talking to you nice, nice, and nice, in order to get some information about you. In order to form a profile about you, because without a profile, they have nothing to go on to say, well, you did this, you did that, you did this, you did that. And a lot of times, these people, what they're done, what happens to them is that they're profiled to be mentally insane. So the mentally insane people don't get paid attention to. And a lot of times when they complain about this, these instances of, telephone redirects, intimate infiltration, things like that, it becomes a situation where there's, where it becomes almost paranoid schizophrenia. And a lot of times that happens to a lot of people. And a lot of people go through these mental health clinics Nothing is wrong with them, and they come out, they come out messed up because once you go into that, I mean, you see really other people in there, and then you come out messed up. Um, the other thing is following you wherever you go, and sometimes it's overt. Sometimes they'll all use the same color hats, or the same color shoes, or the same color backpacks, or anything to get you sensitive. Sensitization, they call it. Anything to get you sensitive. Now, let's say, for instance, if I have an iPhone here like this, right? I have an iPhone, and I'm holding it in my left hand, and all of a sudden you see somebody going like this with their iPhone passing you. You'll see a whole bunch of different people throwing their iPhone up in the air like this. It's a little odd, but this is what they do in order to get you sensitive to that stimuli, to see whether or not if that'll help you out to push their cause. The other thing, again, what's to just basically baiting and entrapment. What happens is that what they do is that they put you in situations that know that's gonna get a rise out of you, and then a lot of times they'll have somebody watching to see what happens, to see how you react to it. If you have no reaction, then the person has nothing to say. But if you do react to it, well, chances are they're going to exploit that to your detriment. Another thing, take photos of you, videos of you. They make some statements to your family and friends, and swear them to secrecy and fake gag orders that they shouldn't tell anybody, what you're doing, because of the fact that it's highly secret, and it's something that could be considered very damaging if they tell you, because your conduct is not correct, needs to be corrected, and after all, they love you and they want to see you get better, so therefore, yada, 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 well, let's keep quiet and we'll help him, kind of deal. And a lot of times, what they'll use is that they'll use either the police, firemen, ambulance workers, doctors, all to give themselves an illusion of power. Now, those are very highly sought after and highly, respected positions. So, in order to effectively, do what you have to do, or whatever, it's they'll use these for legitimacy and power. Because and more believability. Because let's face it, sometimes there's strength in numbers. Sensitivity operations, they call, to get you sensitive again to a stimuli. Whether somebody at you or does something to get, to evoke a response, out of you. But and a lot of times, it's targeted harassment. It's also something else called noise harassment, where they will drive their cars speeding. They will, peel out the tires. They'll, rev their engines. They're, anything to evoke a sense of urgency, which, let's face it, if we ever heard a car squeal, it kind of gets us nervous because we think of our own cars maybe about to crash into a pole or something, so that evokes a, very guarded and very visceral response. But, but this is what they do, as also something which is highly, highly, highly remarkable, yet sickening. It's this thing called electronic harassment. Electronic harassment is the use of technology in order to harass somebody. Now you say, okay, well, how can technology be used to harass somebody? Well, there are devices that generate a hum, which which they focus into the house. There are devices which directed energy weapons, which do exist. I mean, all you have to do is just go on YouTube here, and you could see them in action. These EMF weapons and how they get shocked and things like that, and it's just really, 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 really sad, because you see these victims, and it's terrible, and again, I mean, people who make these claims that they're getting shocked by invisible weapons, I mean, people, a lot of times they run head on into a skeptical police department. Why? Because of the fact that it just seems science fiction. And like I said, I mean, it could be paranoid schizophrenia, because maybe these, maybe well, not maybe, but mental patients, they say that that people around them are doing things around them to communicate with them, whether it's dropping a pen, lifting it up in the air, anything, you know. And a lot of times there's plausible deniability there, where you can actually deny it because there's no evidence that you knew about it, other than filming it, taping it, and doing what you have to do, pictures. And the amount of how effective it is based on two things: its frequency, how often it occurs, and duration, how long it lasts. And a lot of times you become sensitive to these things, and the intensity, which means that if it's like a cough that somebody does, they'll like a really intense cough, to get your attention, and you know and I mean, being illegally electronically monitored, harassed, tortured violates laws. These stalking laws that they have now, and you can successfully press charges against somebody for actually doing these things, because let's face it, especially if they're using weapons. I mean, these things could be used to kill. These things could be used to, these things could be, very uncomfortable. And let's face it, weapons. The word says it right there. You know. So anyway, again, I don't mean to make this a solicitation, but Gang Stalking World is another, is a great one. It's a really, really, really good website. That you can get a lot of good, bullet points of. And it's something that, that unfortunately happens in America, and it happens so often and so effectively that people just get overwhelmed. And you see these news reports of these people just becoming so overwhelmed, not being able to do anything, because of the fact that they're just frozen, because it pervades all aspects. Even their families are affected, threatened, harassed, annoyed, and we're talking about real threats, not implied threats. If you know the difference, where somebody could take something that you said as like a implied threat, but then as a result of that, as a defense, they say, oh yeah, well, we're going to kill your cat, or something like that. Anyway. All right, guys. Hopefully you found this insightful again. It's a really good subject, and it's out there. So I just want to just share this with you guys, and hopefully you guys get a really good perspective on this, and hopefully it doesn't happen to anybody. But at least now knowledge is power, and the fact that that as long as you know this, that you can recognize this, and that you can document it properly, and just get your wits together, because you can honestly make a difference and get this stopped, because it's very close in the future. Take care, guys.